Hey guys, Keyvan B here with Cathedral Boost after the nerf. Over 100 hours of Cathedral tips and tricks. This video will be a little bit of a different format. I'm gonna go into a lot more detail and put a bit more effort into actually editing it rather than just one-taking it. But first off, before we start, thank you for all the subs, likes, follows, comments, and I feel like there's a lot of people that don't realize that I actually stream a lot of this stuff. It's KeyvanB _. If you have any questions, like a 14-hour stream, 17-hour stream, I'm a little bit of a degenerate. If you have any questions about the boost, the best place to ask questions is on my streams there. Is this possible after the nerf? Yes. It maybe added about 30 seconds to a minute to my whole run. Living Flames damage went down like 50%, and most of that's just due to the uptime, which I'll go into in a little bit. It puts a lot more emphasis on pulling properly. When you're pulling sorcs, they must be pulled with Living Bomb from max range, or they must be counterspelled if they're within 30 yards, because they will put on the 15-second slow, and you will get slowed, usually around here, if you don't pull properly. So it puts a lot more emphasis on pulling properly. Living Flame will not out-heal a lot of damage that you take during the pull anymore. It will just barely out-heal the Frostbolts from like 9 sorcs, for example. So on top of that, you have to be using Frostward as soon as Living Flame falls off. On the first pull, if you need to, you can Frostward, Cold Snap, Frostward. You're chilling. If you really need and you have the gold, you can use Frost Protection Potion, Frost Deflector, Ice Deflector, I forget what it's called. Stuff like that. And if you're messing up on the pull part, don't be afraid to use like PvP Trinket, for example, until you get it down. And then switch to the double DPS Trinket. A lot of very important things with pulling sorcs. You want to be pulling them from max range, like this sorc in this corner. I will not pull it till I'm like max range here. And then I'll blink up the staircase. I will line of sight the sorcs from down below on this right-hand wall. And then I'll cut back around and I'll line of sight them at the ledge here on this fountain. I'll also jump so that I bait their cast, so they start a cast on me from down below. And then I'll continue on and I'll spend a little bit of time going a bit wide here because I don't want mobs to cut me off and meet me down here. And then I'll almost always blink back to this ledge because those sorcs that come down or come up from down below will end up slowing you around here almost always. So if you have blink up, blink to the ledge, and drop down, you can usually just waddle to the block spot. Oh, it's a fish. No. No. I'm dead. Oh no, and I can't even blink out of this. I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. To kind of summarize my thoughts on Living Flame, here's a clip from my Twitch. Flame is doing like half the damage that it used to, and most of that is because Living Flame takes about 4 seconds from the range that I'm at to even start ticking. That's 40% uptime that is just lost. What they should do is make the duration like 14 seconds to compensate for that, or just make it spawn under the mob's feet at the very beginning, so it actually has 10 seconds of uptime. I think the nerf was needed. I think it was a bit egregious, as Agron would say. But I don't think it feels good at the moment. It felt too good before, but now it just feels very bad to press. You have to be in melee range for PvE. It's just weird. It needed it for PvP though. The consumes, I believe, are required for the boost are greater mana potions and magic resistance potions. Everything else is just because you can afford it. You're making 400 gold an hour. You can afford it. Now, the consumes that I have on top of those two are solid dynamite for just finishing off runners, and sometimes just sorcs if they're causing an issue in pull 1 and pull 2. Lesser wizard oil for spell power. Why not? Swiftness pot. I would say that's needed. You can do the boss pull without it, but I pop it when I'm doing the boss pull. Greater defense is just more armor. Completely not needed. Health pots, I don't remember the last time I pressed one, but just in case. Especially with the nerfs, if you're taking too much frostbolt damage and you don't have frostward up, just pop a health pot. You'll regenerate enough mana with magic absorption. You're fine. Elixir fortitude, more health. Why not? Same thing with like Rumsey Rum, just 15 stamina. Why not? Boon if you really want to. Lesser arcane elixir does stack with firepower, so just more spell power. So these three consumes just help. It just speeds things up. Not that expensive. Not required. Not that expensive though. And then on top of that, soothing turtle biscuit, just 8 health, 8 spirit. It's cheap. Why not? And then Mage bandages. It helps for the boss pull. Now, talents. I feel like magic absorption is required. It restores like 2k mana every pull. It's a lot of mana. And it's more resistances, which helps a lot. In terms of frost talents, there's few that matter. I feel like frost warding is one of the most important. Gives you more frost res. A lot of people are like, why don't you use mage armor? You get 11 frost res from ice armor. You only get 5 from mage armor. And you get armor, and it slows the attackers. It's just great. Frost ward, when you have it up when you're pulling, reflects the frostbolts. Hit chance. More slow. I never actually cast Blizzard. Improved for Frost Nova's not bad. Cold Snap required. This point, whatever. Increase range, radius. That's alright for the Cone of Cold. Why not? It helps with Frost Nova and stuff as well. Frost Channeling, just reduce mana. And then Ice Block, which, if you get unlucky and have a bunch of sorcs, you end up doing that. Another build that you could run is just Master of Elements. It's a lot of mana restore, but if you get IDs with a bunch of sorcs, trying to group them up, especially after the nerf, it's not fun. You can tank like 3 or 4 at a time, but I definitely wouldn't suggest it. Now gear. I run 2 different sets. Made a macro that swaps my cloak and my 2 rings. My cloak that I run for the first 2 pulls after the nerf, I run a bit more frost resistance. When I'm fully buffed, I'm like 111 frost res. Run the icy cloak, and then just 2 frost res rings. And then for the boss pull, it's just PvE DPS stuff. So just switch to PvE DPS stuff. My gear at the moment is overkill. It's not required for this. I would look at my first Cathedral video, like 90% of the gear that I use in that video is just Auction House Bis. Pretty cheap nowadays. It's not bad. But here's my gear. Get int on bracers, mana on chests, because that's the only thing that matters. I got this yesterday. This is both from Mage Quest. Auction House, Engineering. 3 set proc is great. Now, next question. What do I charge per run? I used to charge 15. After the 100% experience buff, a lot of the Mage Mafia demanded a price hike. The price that people charge is 20 gold per run. Is boosting allowed? Yes. Individuals and guilds selling boosts or assistance in raiding or dungeons or PvP activities for gold is allowed, but can only be advertised in-game through the Trade Services chat channel. The Trade Services chat channel, unfortunately, does not exist in Classic. That means in Classic, advertising and posting your boost in general, trade, world, etc. is not allowed. You will get muted, you will get suspended. I don't think you get permanently banned. I'm unsure about that. It is not allowed. So how do you advertise? Well, Discords, or in my case, YouTube, or word of mouth mainly. You impress 5 people, those 5 people tell 5 other people, and now you have people constantly coming to you for boosts. And it'll get very overwhelming very fast, because 4 people take up 6 hours of your time. And in those 6 hours, you'll get whispers while you're in Cathedral. Hey, are you boosting? Hey, are you boosting? How much? If people just slash who Cathedral 40 Mage and whisper people. It's not very hard to find boosties. A lot of people resort to Discords. They're alright. A lot of them are kind of sketch. But overall, it's not allowed. The Trade Services channel is not the trade channel. This is a channel that exists only in retail. This got introduced in 9.2.7, which was Shadowlands. That's when they did that. This has existed since, I think, TBC Classic re-release is when this kind of happened. That being said, I've boosted a lot. No ban. I don't advertise in-game, so I'm not going to get silenced or anything like that. I make a lot of gold. There's a lot of gold that goes through my account. It is not bannable. It is allowed. You are allowed to boost for gold. The option in-game that a lot of people get confused about is when you go to report somebody, there's an option that says boosting. They think that that is a new option. That option has existed forever. Well, maybe not forever, but a very, very long time, and that is referring to boosting in arenas and stuff like that for RMT. That is RMT boosting, not boosting for gold. A lot of people get that very confused. The next thing is, how long does it take for like 1 to 40 in phase 2? Well, 1 to 40 in phase 2, I did my first run took me 9 hours 26 minutes from 1 to 40. I feel like they can be closer to around 7.5 hours. The next question I get asked a lot: how do I avoid getting slowed? I'm getting dazed. I'm getting slowed a lot by Frostbolts. Once Iceblock breaks, I get one shot. Even before I can Nova. What's the secret? Daze? You can only ever get dazed if a mob hits you in the back. When I am pulling, I am always, let's say a mob is following me, I am always side strafing so that they're technically hitting my front. If they hit you in the back, you will get dazed. It will not work. You get dazed at bad times, you're just screwed. Now, Frostbolts. How do you not get slowed by Frostbolts? The answer is line of sight and range the Frostbolts very frequently. And when you are pulling sorcs, do it from max range on Living Bomb. When you pull max range on Living Bomb, you can most of the time run out of their range, even though it has like a 60-yard range. And so when I'm pulling this room, I walk in. This sorc is kind of a bad spawn, quote unquote. What we'll end up doing, we'll walk in, we check this pack. If this pack has a sorc, we probably won't pull it with the first pull. If it doesn't like this, we'll pull it with the first pull. We'll go here, we'll jump, we'll Nova. Now if there's a sorc within range, we will counterspell this guy. And then we will pull this corner group and check if there's a sorc. If there's a sorc, do not pull this sorc until you are like max range where my mouse is here. And then we cut across the fountain. That makes the melee mobs go around here, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, and they go back around. And while I'm about here in the middle, I look at this corner pack. Okay, there's a sorc. I will not pull this sorc until I am max range on Living Bomb, which is like here. And so I'll pull that sorc, and then I'll run up around here. I'll pull like either that group or that group, and even if there is a sorc, it doesn't matter, because as soon as I get here, I'll end up blinking up. That will outrange that sorc, and it will line of sight that sorc, and it'll line of sight the sorc right there. I go here around this wall, same thing, line of sighting. If there's a sorc up here, hopefully you resist or you have counterspell. And then here, I'll be line of sight again from these sorcs. But I want these sorcs to cast again. So while I'm running across here, I'll jump. I'll be jumping. And the sorcs will start casting again. Now what that frees you up to do, you won't get slowed while you're pulling the rest of this. So I'll kind of go a little bit wide like this, and I'll pull sorcs or whatever I can, and then I'll come to about here. At this point, these sorcs from down below will be like right here. You're in a range where they can do the 15-second slow. It's like within 30 yards. They will slow you. If you go and spend too much time all like going super wide, you will get slowed around here almost always. But the thing, if we do get slowed, by this point, we can just drop down, blink will be back up, you can just blink to the block spot, and then block, you're fine. 15 seconds slow doesn't matter in that case. So it puts a lot of emphasis on pulling properly, line of sighting frequently, and baiting the Frostbolt casts at the same time as trying to get to this ledge to drop down. The last part of this question, once ice block breaks, I get one shot by all the mobs before I can even Nova. What's the secret? You ice block in a good spot, and I have status text showing up, like a little red text scrolling up, and it's like a pattern game. You can kind of pay attention to the pattern and see that there's an opening every now and again, and then just come out at the opening. And how you exit ice block early is with this macro. Just cancel aura ice block and cast rank 1 Nova. There's never a point to use any higher rank of Nova. It doesn't break soon or anything. So you'll ice block, and then as soon as you feel like that pattern game, like you're gonna come out when there's a little gap, you'll be spamming this, and this is how you come out of Nova really quick. I also have it baked into Blink if you really need to, but same thing. It just cancels your ice block, and that's how you get out. It's just a timing thing. You can hear it audibly, you can see it with the status text that scrolls up. You'll use this in a lot of Mage boosts in the past and in the future. Next tip or trick is the pixel stacking ice block spot or location. And here I kind of explain it. So right where I'm standing, you'll see if I scroll in, there's 2 little tiny black dots. There's one on the left there. You want to place yourself between that one on the left and the one on the right, on the left-hand side of this ledge. So kind of where I'm standing. And if you ice block, like right there, all of the mobs will end up pixel stacking right there. Just to kind of show you like a clip of it in action. Let's go here. Now what this allows us to do is that, look, all the sorcs are going to be affected by the Living Flame for 100% of its duration. I'll come out of the ice block. You can see I kind of played the rhythm game. I saw an opening. I knew that the pattern was going to kind of continue. I came out, I Nova'd, and then when we end up Living Flaming here, you can see how many targets it hits. If you do that pixel stacking spot properly, after the nerf, it's no issue. Like, look at these sorcs. They're just getting pumped by Living Flame. They're already 50% before any living bombs have fell off. So as soon as the living bombs explode, they're dead. Hey, Keevan, my female undead or my gnome female gets stuck when I try to do this juggle or this tech. It just doesn't work. It does. Every class gets stuck, and I kind of explained it in this clip, as well as go into detail about what you do when you're trying to juggle and how I'm juggling the mobs, what I'm paying attention to, and things to look out for. Female undead's a little bit scuffed, but it works on my female undead. This lip right here, you'll get stuck on it. See how I'm stuck? You'll get stuck on this lip a lot as a female undead. If you make your camera straight, you won't get stuck as much. And now here, see, every class, every sex, every race gets stuck like this. You get stuck on the ledge. But that's part of the tech and what makes it consistent with the slow. So what you do is you drop down, you go up, pause. They start running towards you. Don't let them pass this line. Drop down. Don't let them turn this corner. Back up. The same thing. You just run, pause, let them turn around. Don't let them get past that corner. Drop down. Always try to keep them running towards you on the top side here as much as possible, and only drop down when you need them to turn around, but immediately go back up. But same thing. Don't let them pass this line. You'll see it in this last boss pull a lot. Don't let them pass here at all if you can. And expect desync. So, yeah. Rule of thumb is if they pass this part and you're not dropped down, you're probably dead. And if they pass like this part, they're probably going to go like, wee! And then it fucks up your bounce. That being said, this little pocket, if you do have a mob that's kind of close this way, like this way, if you keep him in this pocket and you let him turn this corner, and then you go back down, he'll turn around. And then if you keep doing that and let him turn this corner, he'll go like this and take a really wide route and then kind of behave. Meanwhile, the other mobs will also do the same thing. They'll go like, whoop, whoop, whoop. Like that. The desyncing, always, on a fresh pull, always go up and down and do a few quick juggles, and it'll kind of fix the like, desync shit. So, let's see a clip of that in action. It's better to show you rather than just explain it. You can see I'm putting that into practice. I don't let them pass that line, and I just keep them nice and stacked. Mobs are a little bit desynced. What I mean by that, see how they're not turning around as soon as I fall down? You can see me kind of do a few quick movements with my keyboard whenever I'm down below. So see how I kind of like spam my movement keys when I'm down below? And that's to kind of get them to readjust. Sometimes when you drop off, they don't realize, so you kind of have to do like a little millisecond of pressing your movement keys. But see, I noticed that they're desynced. They passed that line that I was talking about, so I'm doing a few quick juggles, and that makes them smarten up again. And it keeps them in that little pocket. You can see how they're going really wide and trying to take like a detour, and I never let them pass the corner. And then, like, if you have a mob behind you, just living bomb it and deal with it pretty easily. You'll see that in the full run at the end. I think I answered a lot of the questions that I get asked a lot. Please comment if you have any more questions, or more importantly, just come to the Twitch and ask them while I'm live, and I can actually try to show you and answer them live. After the nerf, not much has changed. I'm still doing 9-10 minute runs. You'll see like a 10-minute run in the clip. That wasn't by any means my best run. It was just one of the ones that I happened to record. On the first day of the nerf, I was trying to make adjustments. I explained a little bit more in the actual clip while I'm doing it. But no, please let me know if I miss anything. Anyways, thank you. Enjoy the full run. Bye. Bye. How good does your gear need to be this? I would look at my first Cath video. It's less gear dependent and more optimizing how you're pulling. It's very finicky. Like, there's a sorc there. I'm not pulling that because I will get frostbolted before I get up the stairs. And I'm always checking if there's sorcs. If I'm pulling sorcs, I try to do it at max range. And then line of sight up the stairs, at the wall. There's a sorc there, you can spell it. I'm jumping to bait frostbolt casts as well. And pull as much as you can, pretty much. Get cut off by mobs. block right there. They should pixel stack behind us, minus these dudes there. Try to time the melee is better than that when you come out. Flame fell off, so we crossword. First pull, you can cold snap. And then as soon as it's down, crossword again. Should be more than enough time. Put up a few more living bombs. And then we regen for a second. Throw out living flame. And if we did take frostbolt damage there, through the frostword, we just heal it back right here. But if your ice block is really good, and you just kind of pump out living bombs, a lot of the sorcs will just run away. And even if they are still alive at this point, you can just use them as a mana battery, and if you ever need to, just throw a living bomb on them. And as soon as the mobs come back from running away, throw dynamite just to kind of finish them off, and this bomb should explode right around the same time too. Then it'll just living flame and finish them off. If you ever see a mob above like 1k health, you can living bomb him and it should explode. Remake your gem. Pre-pop the magic res pot. Finish drinking up, look around, see how many sorcs there are. On the second pull, if there's more than like 3 sorcs on this bottom part, it's pretty cursed and you're probably gonna get slowed right here in the fountain. And then it's really not fun. If there's only 1 sorc, you should be fine. Here. Not too bad. There we go. Thank you. Crossword. And pull the sorcs always at max range with living bomb. We'll blink out of range. Pull some stuff up there. Here. Jump Nova. Pull the corner pack. Pull this pack. Blink. And then go to the pixel stack spot. Block. Love the pixel stack. This pull should just flop over pretty much. Now every single sorc that's in this pack has 100% uptime of the living flame. Makes it a lot better for dealing with them. So once this first round of living bombs explodes, they should all just be dead. If you really wanted to make sure, you could even just huck a dynamite, bro. Now all the sorcs are for sure going to be running away and dying. It's really just cleanup duty at this point. If you did lose some health, they didn't frostward like me, you can just throw out a regen living flame. All of it will come back. And then find mobs with like 1.5k health when you have living flame out. That's not enough, that's not enough, that's not enough, that's not enough. I'm just tab targeting. So it's just those two, I guess. That's how you know that the bomb will explode. I also didn't put on my frost res gear. I'm still in... Guess you don't need frost res. Have I got a cancel aura for ice block? Yes. That's something I always overlook. People always ask me. I have it built into a few things. I have it built into Nova, and then rank 1 Nova. So when I'm coming out of ice block, that's what I'm spamming. I also have it bound to blink. I think I also have it bound to barrier, but I just don't press that. The Nova one's important, so I'm like paying attention to my red text and trying to find a pattern, like a gap in where their melee stop. And then when I kind of feel like the pattern game is like that, and it's time to come out, I'm spamming with the Frost Nova thing, and it gets me out of ice block, and Novas them, and that's how I get out most of the time without taking much damage. And we will put Burnout, Full Power Gear, Mage Armor, because it cancels the mana per 5 tick. And then we'll Mana Shield, target the boss. We're going to Speed Pot, Jump, Nova. Pull the boss, turn around, blink out. Pop your Mana Gem. Look around for melee mobs to pull. There's a corner guy. Pull him. Pull him. You did take any damage there. When you drop down, you can just bandage. You usually get like 3 or 4 ticks off. And then when you get to the bounce spot, they will be a bit desynced. So I always do a few quick bounces just to make sure that they're actually being responsive. And then you'll just kind of weaken them, target the boss with a macro that just slash target Scarlet Commander. Keep him targeted, keep Living Bomb on him, and just Living Flame on cooldown for like 3 Living Flames just to kind of weaken them. There's always people in the back rooms that end up coming really late. So just focus on the juggle. And as they kind of run in, we'll get them to about like 40% health or so. And then we'll start ramping. For the kill phase, we're going to do 8 Living Bombs, pop your helmet, pop Living Flame, continue to spam Living Bombs for the duration of the helmet. And ideally, you kill all these healers so you don't have to really deal with them too much after. And the most important thing is that you kill this boss, because then you can Nova and Evo. So, not this Living Flame, but the next one is when we're going to full on ramp. So as soon as the cooldown's like around 12 seconds or so, we're going to full on ramp. Okay. And tab target, throw up 8 Living Bombs. After the 8th, we'll pop our helmet. And it should be active for all the explosions. Throw out Living Flame. Keep throwing out Living Bomb. You can pop your health pot at this point. You can pop your mana gem at this point. And just keep targeting, or tab targeting, and looking at people's health. They're around 1k, you can throw a Living Bomb on them. And as the mobs kind of run back in, you'll just kind of chill a little bit. Let these mobs kind of get a little finished off. We'll throw out 1 more Living Flame in a second. Mobs ever get kind of desynced like that and they're low, just throw a Living Bomb, it's worth it. Now here, we'll target the boss. There is no boss. So this means that at any point now I can Nova and Evo. So I'm waiting for these mobs to run in from being low health. I'm just gonna throw out some bombs. Counterspell Renew, because that's the most annoying thing in the world. Let these bombs explode, then we'll Nova Evo. Watch out for monks. They do like a thrashing melee and hit you like 6 times in 1 hit. Always respect them. Don't let them hit you once. Just Cone of Cold, and now we have crap load of mana. And then we just finish everything off. Once a bunch of them die, throw up Just Chronicle and you can just spam AE to your heart's content if you really want. You pretty much have to out DPS the renew. There you go. It was a 12-minute run with like 1 minute of AFKing at the start. Not bad.